Support for exploring the American spirit is provided by Sassy Shears, Riverside Salon, Spa, and Boutique, where clients can spend an hour or an entire day. Hair, nails, skincare, and massage for adults and children. More online at sassyshears.com.
Hello, I'm Mary Parks. American spirit. Say those words and many images come to mind. You may think of heroic acts in times of tragedy, a person or an entire family that overcomes adversity. In reality, selfless acts by ordinary individuals that help others take place every day in every part of our country. They aren't likely to make the headlines, but their impact is just as real, and the effect on our communities is just as powerful. At Exploring the American Spirit, we're going to take a look at some of the phenomenal accomplishments done by people who saw a need and found a way to meet it. I'll be your guide on this incredible journey, so pull up your chair and relax as we explore the American spirit. The American flag is one of the most beloved symbols of our nation. To many, it means hope, strength, courage, or faith. The magnificent Stars and Stripes holds a special place to veterans, many of whom went through tremendous trials to protect freedom. This giant flag was raised to welcome hundreds of veterans visiting Martin Luther King High School in Riverside. The assignment? To share their stories of service with history students in what's known as King High Remembers. Inside the gym, preps were underway for what would be a day of storytelling at its best, an opportunity for veterans to share their experiences and preserve history one-on-one with young people eager to learn.
My name is Samuel Falah, and I served in the United States Marine Corps a period of 4 years.
Falah was an infantryman. He drove from Burbank, nearly 80 miles east, to be able to share his military experiences with students. Do you think young people today have any idea what our veterans have gone through, including yourself?
Well, I would think some of them do, but they don't know enough. And I think days like this, it's really helpful. We can discuss and talk to them about what we went through so they can understand and have sense of appreciation for what they have. And also in the same time, they can understand what vets been through, and at the same time they can actually, if a vet happened to have a hard time with what he's dealing with, they can actually approach it correctly and try to talk with them, try to be helpful. I think that's such a great event.
Falah and his men were ambushed and shot on April 14th, a date he'll never forget. The biggest adjustment he experienced when retiring from the Marine Corps was simply life in general, he says. Talking about his experiences has been his best therapy. We had the honor of talking with Royce Simon, an 80-year-old veteran from Sun City, California, who served in Korea and Vietnam.
To me, this program is very important. This is my third year being here. These students, they ask good questions. And then they write, when they interview you, they write a paper on the interview. And I have been told by a history teacher, this was the first school that started this, and now that I think that's 5. So I was so moved the first time I came here that I just keep coming back.
Simon's story is filled with experiences from the 1950s.
And unfortunately, I was in 2 wars. I was in the Korean War when I was 18 years old, and I was in Korea from 1953 to 1954, and I just happened to be in Korea the day the war ended. That was the best day of my life, other than when I got married. And the war ended at 12 midnight, July 28th, 1953. And at 10 minutes to 12, we all started firing in the air. And the thing that got me was the Chinese and the North Koreans came out of their holes, and we came out of our holes, and these suckers are 6 feet from me, and I had no idea.
Simon was more than comfortable today, though, sharing his war stories with a younger generation. 69-year-old Bill Talbert was stationed at Fort Stewart Air Force Base just outside of Nashville, Tennessee. Talbert had more patches and bars on his vest than anyone at the table.
I was there for 6 months. They said, pack a bag. So my overseas temporary duties, I went twice to the Pacific, Philippines, Japan, Wake Island. I went twice over to Europe, England, Germany, Spain, Italy, Greece, Crete, Azores, Portugal, and Canada.
And how old were you then?
Young. And in the States, I was in Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, California, Kansas, and Hawaii. I think the military is something that the kids don't know about anymore. I think there's right now less than 1% of the population of the United States that are veterans.
Well, and that was my next question. Do you think young people today truly have any idea or understanding of what our veterans have gone through?
No.
Whether it involves combat or not?
Well, they just don't understand being away from home and growing up. That's the key. If you want to grow up fast, join the military. Because they can be tough if they want to be. In my era, we didn't get a good reception when we came home. So it was tough. It was not easy. But there for years I suppressed that I was even in the service. But now I'm a proud veteran, and a lot of people today just don't realize what the veterans actually have to go through, the sacrifices. And the biggest sacrifice is being away from the family.
Talbert smiled and talked of jarheads, squids, puddle jumpers, dogface, and flyboys, terms few students here had ever heard of. Joe Hosh laughingly recalled the term squid. He did 32 years in the Navy. He's here now, eagerly wanting to share his stories.
It's a one-on-one experience telling people, in this case the students, that indeed there's a lot of things that they didn't hear about due to the press not putting it in there. So this is an opportunity for them to get a real-life people that was right there doing it. And I think it's a very valuable experience from the standpoint of that particular thing. Plus, it gives these kids a chance to get an idea of what these troops went through during the war.
And what will you specifically be sharing today? Anything in particular you like to say to the young people?
The interview, it takes care of most of they'll ask the questions and then you can elaborate, but it's a good experience. I enjoy doing it because a lot of people, especially World War II people, are not many left.
Like John Boesma, a 97-year-old Pearl Harbor survivor who remembers December 7th, 1941, as though it were yesterday.
I have a very good memory. In the Navy, we were not allowed to keep logs. It was a court-martial offense. And I have a very good memory. I can remember back when I was about 3 or 4 years old, so I have no trouble remembering. I have been on most of the island chains in the Pacific at one time or another, and crossed the Pacific so many times I've lost track of it. 14 days from San Francisco to Yokohama or Busan, Korea. Now you fly it in 14 hours.
And tell us a little bit about yourself and what was your job in the military?
Well, I was on a big repair ship in a machine shop initially, and then after I received a commission, I was in the engineering force, stood watches in the engine room. My battle station was a battery officer for 20 and 40 millimeter guns on an attack cargo.
And where were you on that day?
December 7th, I was down in the lower machine shop on the USS Medusa. I heard explosions. I've always been curious. I jumped up on the workbench. I saw the Japanese planes at masthead height attacking Ford Island. I saw the PBY hangars and PBYs going up in smoke. I saw the old battleship Utah get hit, the light cruiser Raleigh. I jumped back and yelled, "Close the ports, the Japs are here." That's the terminology used at that time. Now it is not politically correct.
Each time John told his story, students shook his hand, smiled, and thanked him for his service. Veterans like James Williams brought memorabilia to fill the table: shell casings, newspaper clippings, and a 105 howitzer shell. The note-taking was intense. Table after table, story after story.
I don't think it's so matter of importance to tell a story. It's the kids need to see that there's other things going on out there, and freedom's not free, and that's the biggest thing. And it just thrills me that we can come and show that experience, because to me, hands-on things affect education more than anything.
So much better than reading it on a textbook.
Exactly, and you get different perspectives, and you can form your own opinion from those perspectives.
Talk to us a little bit, if you would please, about your military service. When did you serve and where?
I served in Vietnam, and one of the reasons I'm happy at doing this is because when I got out of Vietnam, they were spitting on my uniform, and I never wore it. And only till recently did I get recognized for my service, so I'm proud to wear my hat and do things like this and show the other kids that you have to serve. You fight for your country, and the way I felt is you have to give something back to your country.
The goal was simple: to put a face on history, to learn something students could never experience from a book.
Every young person I've ever met who's shown an interest, including my own son, in joining the military, I told him, before you actually join, you need to talk to a veteran and get the straight scoop. And if I used to give my number out all the time to kids and say, if you want to join, call me before you join so I can, help you out with a little information. And that's what this is doing today.
And what is the straight scoop?
The straight scoop is that you can get medals and ribbons, but you got to earn them.
Anthony Davila was a chopper mechanic during Desert Storm.
A lot of people use that slogan, freedom isn't free, and being in the military is not just a job, it's a lifestyle.
So what you're telling me, Antonio, is it's no cakewalk.
No, it's farthest thing from a cakewalk, especially with the Desert Storm veterans.
15 years ago, this living history lesson began with just 28 veterans. The program has now grown to include 300 retired and active duty military and has spread to 5 schools.
Anchorage, we got on board a two-engine plane that looked like it was still left over from World War II.
Those young men and women on those dog tags gave their lives either in Afghanistan or Iraq, and I went to their missions. And one of those dog tags is in your hand, and I'm going to give you this. You can wear that with you all day today. And at some point in time, Google his name and learn about it. But that's what that is. Those are memorial dog tags that we give out in the Patriot Guard for every mission that we attend in Southern California.
Vietnam veteran Craig Donor brought dog tags, scrapbooks, and a vest covered in symbolic patches.
Oral history is a wonderful thing. I think that giving these individuals the opportunity to talk to somebody that's actually been there will give them some insight onto what actually happened, and they can pass that on. I think it's very important that they know what happened. I wish that everybody, I made a journal of what I did in the military and in the Marine Corps and pass it on to my children. I wish that everyone would do that. There's so many World War II veterans that are dying every day, and some of them have never said what they did or told their stories, and it's tragic for that to be lost. So if we can get them to start talking about it, and maybe they'll write it down. I've read quite a few journals from people from World War II, and really interesting reasons.
My name is Elizabeth Davis, and I really just want to learn about our veterans and what they've done for us and how they've given us our freedoms and how much they've given up so that we can do what we're doing right now.
Well, that's my next question. Do you think young people today, your generation, truly know and have an idea of what our veterans thus far have gone through?
I don't think we really do, because I feel like we take a lot of what we have for granted, and this program right now is allowing us to understand really what they have done for us.
I was more proud to be in their presence because they're the reason why we're able to keep what we have now.
Lieutenant Colonel Bill Gavitt had maps of Europe and an old journal he's kept since his war days. And then there's Sarge Whaley with his hat full of commendations depicting campaign served, bravery, and a job well done. His audience sat captivated by this hero's tale, never really noticing the bright red walker nearby.
If we didn't win World War II, we'd all be part of Germany and Japan today.
91-year-old Bertram Frank talked about USO shows with Bob Hope and surviving the night in a foxhole. 4 young girls exchanged laughs with the war veteran as he flipped through years and years of nostalgic photos. Prominently displayed, you'll find the POW MIA table, decorated with special symbols to remember brothers and sisters in arms. John Corona is the man behind this awesome history lesson.
The significance is they're face-to-face with history, is that these people have lived it, they've seen it, they have opinions about it, in a time that our kids don't know anything about. And to be brutally honest, they have very little interest in, for the most part, because teenagers being teenagers, they're worried about the now. And for them to be able to sit down with somebody who served in World War II, who was in Korea, who was at Khe Sanh in Vietnam, it takes a whole different meaning to them. It takes on a whole different meaning for them. And I think it really reaches into their soul a little bit.
And what is the whole meaning for you as John Corona, the man? You started this because...
Well, truthfully, it was an accident. I just felt the first year I was here at King in 2001, I just made a simple assignment. I wanted to interview a World War II vet or Korean War vet, and they came back. A lot of the kids came back and said anybody I could interview has passed away. So I had to go out and recruit vets to come, and we had 28 the first year. And after that first day, I realized the effect it had on the kids, the effect it had on the vets, and I knew we had to keep doing it. And truthfully, it gives me a chance to honor my own father. My dad served in World War II and in the Pacific Theater, and he never talked much about it, and it helped draw us closer together the last 10 years of his life, and I'm really thankful for that opportunity. So getting a chance to honor my dad was a big deal too. A lot of these individuals will tell you that they're not heroes, that the real heroes are the ones that never came home, and I think there's a large measure of truth in that. At the same time, everybody here is a hero. But doing that ceremony every year gives us a chance to remember, and it gives us a chance to thank those veterans who came and shared their time with our kids. And one of the things I found out about veterans, it's not just about their service in the military, but service to community and service to their hometown. They just keep on giving. And this is an example of that.
At the end of the day, a salute to the history teacher who started it all, putting a face on history, one story at a time. That's the American spirit. Outside it's chilly and dark. Only by the clock can you tell the difference between time to sleep and the time to rise. Across California, the freeways are humming with the traffic of a morning commute. And as the orange-hued rays of sunrise begin to bring warmth to a new day, there is already a warmth emanating from the Hilltop Church kitchen where the ovens have just been fired up. The newly hired apprentice at Angel Wings Bakery, Tylena Lewis, gets another batch of sweets ready for baking.
And it's going to flatten it out. Basically, so we don't have to use a rolling pin, because with a rolling pin it gets uneven. Some places, so all the cookies are the same width.
How many times do you have to do that?
Well, to make it even, we start off with it up here at 20 millimeters, but we take it down to 7 millimeters. So they call me 7 millimeters.
Precision cookies.
Yeah.
Learning to do anything with precision, let alone making delicate pastries, has proved to be a life-changing experience for Tylena Lewis.
Baking here kept me focused on positives, not negative. And I really truly thank Tracy, Becky, and Angel Wings Bakery, because without them, I really don't know where I'd be. I really, truly don't know. I wouldn't be here.
With several pans of custom cookies in the toasty oven, Lewis takes a well-deserved break to visit with her toddlers, Michael and Yeshua. Her story is all too familiar across America. Laid off from her job, then a divorce, followed by foreclosure and an eviction. Circumstances that forced Lewis and her boys to sleep in their car. Finally, the young family landed in a shelter.
My ex-husband and I got evicted from our apartment, and it was just me and him and my daughter and our son, and at that time, and we had been bouncing around from home to home and didn't have anywhere to go, and we got put into a homeless shelter and then placed into Path of Life on the waiting list, and then we waited out the 3 to 6 months term and got placed into Path of Life King Hall.
Tylena, though, is one tough cookie. Giving up simply has never been part of her vocabulary.
It's easy for me to say don't give up because that's the most common thing to say, but really truthfully don't give up, because I've been at the point where I wanted to give up and I was ready to give up and just leave my kids with somebody and just leave and go get myself together, but something always came through right at the last minute. Every single time. It never failed.
As strange as it sounds, the philosophy at Angel Wings Bakery is that a cookie can save a life. That a gourmet tart or elegant chocolate truffle can break the cycle of homelessness. You won't find these delicious baked goods in any storefront. Angel Wings is an online bakery that's giving back to the community in a very unique way. Attorney and philanthropist Jane Carney is board chair of the nonprofit.
A cookie can, in fact, change a life, and it can change it in a couple of ways. We employ people who come through the homeless shelters and the transitional housing programs who do not have an adequate background to get a job that will sustain them. And we help them with job training and job readiness and then an actual job, and then help them move along so that they move along and create space for someone else. So a cookie can change a life by helping train people, but also the net revenues from the social enterprise, from the bakery, will go to sustain the services of Path of Life Ministries, which does a lot of, help of lifting people out of poverty.
This is what's known as the art of buttercream, as in frosting, and a lot of it. 12 pounds of butter, 24 pounds of sugar, and a lot of egg whites. Who better to whip up these confections than well-known chef Marla Cohen? Cohen has donated her talents to Angel Wings Bakery and its apprentice program to give back to the community and help develop another great pastry chef like herself. We know you as Chef Marla in the community. Why are you here, volunteering like this?
I know, Jew in a church. There's usually one of us in every church because I got a phone call, and having the restaurant for a long period of time, people started to know me, and I got a call from a guy, the former president of the Chamber of Commerce, and he said, Marla, I have some ladies, they run a not-for-profit, and they need a baker. They know how to run a not-for-profit, they don't know how to bake. And so I came in and I'm helping them. In my business, we were launching a new product line in October, and it got delayed till January. So I had a couple hours every week I could give of my time to help them.
Every month, hundreds of gourmet baked goods are made here. The church even donates its kitchen for the cause. 100% of the profits are used to end poverty. Specific reasons vary, but the National Alliance to End Homelessness reports more than 565,000 people experience homelessness on any given night in the U.S. In California, the number is 115,000. Damian O'Farrell runs Path of Life Transitional Housing, where Tylena and her children found shelter.
They've lost hope in being able to provide, and sometimes it's a matter of reminding somebody that it is possible, and that people do believe in them and they can believe in themselves.
Angel Wings Bakery has given many people hope and the courage to press on. That's the American spirit.
What does the future hold in store for you?
A lot. My future is open right now. Like I said, I'm getting a divorce. Yeah, it's a bad thing, but in turn it's a good thing as well because I'm actually able to explore my options now as far as career-wise. I'm trying to get a second job at a warehouse right now. I just got a brand new car. My boss entered me into the raffle and I won. So
you
that
won
opened
a car in a raffle?
Yes. Well, it was a free car giveaway, so it kind of was a raffle, but yeah, I won that and I was shocked.
As the cookie ovens are shut down for another day, California's golden sunset warms the sky and the hearts of many who leave knowing a cookie really can save a life. We hope you felt the time you invested in watching today's story was worthwhile. It's a privilege for us to bring you these examples of the American spirit. Some will touch and inspire you more than others, but they all in their own way contribute to the fiber and well-being of our communities. We are humbled by the people we meet and are always amazed at what they can accomplish, often by mere grit, determination, and perseverance. That's the American spirit. Join us next time for another stop on our journey exploring the American spirit. I'm Mary Parks.